All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting for January 6th for the Temple City Council. Happy New Year. Please rise as Mayor Pro Tem Judy Morales leads us in the invocation, followed by the pledge, which will be led by City Secretary Jana Lou Ellen.
Join me, please. Father, we come today as one to praise you and to thank you. As this new year, we give thanks for all that we hold dear, our health, our family, and our friends. Let us live each day in the most loving ways that you have taught us and that you have shown us. You make all things new. You bring hope alive in our hearts and cause our spirits to be born again. Thank you for this new year, for all the potential it holds. Come and be with us so that we may enjoy the wonders that you bring us each day of this new year. Bring your love and compassion and let it flow through us and to those around us. As leaders in our community, give the compassion and empathy we need to understand with those that in our community that are going through issues. Help us to love them well. Help us not to judge or condemn, but rather come alongside them to offer support and be your hands and your feet. Give us a spirit of service, Father. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Bless all those who are here today. Bless our national and local leaders, our mayor, our council, our city staff, and all those who are so dear to us. Heal all of those and stand by our side in the time of this uncertain and sorrow times with our coronavirus. Be with those who have died from the virus and now the coronavirus. May they be at rest with you in your eternal peace. Be with the families of those who are sick or who have died as they worry and grieve. Defend them with illness and despair. May they know your love and peace. Be with the doctors and their nurses, researchers and all medical professionals, our firemen, our police, our volunteers, and all the medical workers and those first responders who seek to heal and help those affected and who put themselves at risk in the process. May they know your protection and your peace. We thank you for the vaccine that will save many lives and ask that we trust that you sealed this vaccine to heal and save others from suffering from this disease. Help us see the humanity and dignity of those who are with us. Let us treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence, Father. Renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of your love. And lastly, Father, thank you for being the Prince of Peace. We ask for that supernatural peace to reign in our hearts. We thank you for the simple but ever life-changing message that you give to us, which is your love for each one of us. We ask this through your precious Son and Savior, Jesus. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both very much. Now we'll move on to the public comment section of tonight's meeting. Anyone wishing to address the council on any issue may do so. We just ask you step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Mr. Barrow, did you intend to speak? I think you signed up for this portion, but I believe you're going to be in the public comment section. So.
I'll sign up for this. I'll participate in this portion.
Okay. Yep, sure. If you like, come on up.
Thank you. Learning the rules and certain card games as opposed to learning the rules of what's happening here. Council members. Members of the City Council and City of Temple staff, my name is David Barrows. I live at 7615 McCullough Road in Temple, Texas, 76502. And what other information did you want?
That's it?
That's it.
Yes, sir.
The reserve at Pea Ridge, which is a newly and mostly completed subdivision, is experiencing a traffic congestion and hazard on McCullough Road. In addition to normal construction equipment traffic, it appears as if a resident on McCullough Road is operating a business from within his home that requires the use of heavy earth-moving equipment and trailers. As shown in the provided photos, which I've given to you, heavy equipment trailers and equipment are parked on either the north or the south side of McCullough Road. The length of the vehicles requires utilization of curb space, not only in front of the resident's home, that particular resident's home, but adjacent neighbors as well. The practice is routine with few absences away from the residents. Various vehicle types such as standard and larger size pickup trucks, flatbed trucks, heavy equipment trailers, and stock trailers contribute to congestion on the street. Difficulties have arisen with traffic being restricted when passing through, and sight distance is critically reduced when assessing the road from driveways which are close to the larger vehicles. Public safety is also degraded when firefighting equipment and personnel have a restricted access. Additionally, occasional storage tanks of diesel fuel may be seen loaded onto parked equipment. A hazard recently surfaced when a vehicle collided with heavy-duty equipment while the vehicle driver was distracted by a bright morning sun. The vehicle was traveling east and was unable to see a low but large heavy-duty bumper, its color, and no markings causing it to blend with a roadway surface. Therefore, I am requesting that the City of Temple and the City Council review the city's current applicable ordinances and amend or create, as necessary, an instrument which promotes a safer vehicle pathway throughout the city. And that concludes my request. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Barrow. We'll go ahead and consider this consent agenda. I'm sure that we'll get code enforcement or whoever's applicable in the city to go take a look at that and speak to it.
It's my understanding, if I may engage at this time.
Yes, you'll go back to the podium. This is recorded. We just want to be sure we get your comments recorded from that microphone.
Oh, good, thank you. It is my understanding that that code enforcement has been called, and it is my understanding that code enforcement said that trailers and heavy equipment of certain length are allowed to be parked on city streets as long as they don't go beyond a certain length. And that's why I'm in front of you now, requesting that perhaps the ordinance be looked at to see if it could or should be changed.
Okay.
And again, that concludes what I have to say. Thank you for your
You
time.
bet. Thank you, sir.
Mayor, my office will be in touch with Mr. Barrow, and we'll look into that and bring recommendations back to the city council.
City manager said her office will be in touch.
We'll be in touch, sir. Thank you.
Very good.
I don't think they have an HOA, do they, Brian?
I want to say, I think they do for maintenance of some of the park facilities, but I'm not certain.
Okay.
So we'll double check.
We will check. Thank you.
Okay, very good. We'll now move on to the consent agenda. All items that are listed under this section are to be considered routine by the city council and may be enacted in one motion. If discussion is desired by any member of the council, an item can be removed from this consent agenda at the request of that council member and be considered separately. Council, we discussed the consent agenda during workshop. Unless something has changed, I don't believe there's a desire to pull anything. Is that correct? All right, then I will move, I'll entertain a motion on item number 4A through 4L.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda tonight, items 4A through 4, believe it was, sorry, L.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll second it.
You have a motion by Councilmember Long. We have a second by Councilmember Walker. Council, if you would, please cast your vote. Item number 4, the consent agenda, passes 5 votes to 0. Moving on to item number 5, which is the regular agenda. This is the second reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance amending Chapter 17, Historic Preservation of the City's Code of Ordinances, including but not limited to adding a new review standard for, including but not limited to adding a new review standard for reviews, recommendations, and decisions made under Chapter 17 related to historic preservation. Ms. Atkinson.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. You guys are familiar with this item, but I did bring a presentation just to refresh us on the revisions that we're requesting, again, for the Second Amendment. I'm prepared to give the presentation unless you guys feel comfortable with. I didn't know if-
Council, do we need to see the presentation? I think you're off the hook.
Okay. Happy to answer any questions if you still have any remaining.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. I know, I worked really hard.
This item is subject to a public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this item may do so, or step to the podium and state your name and address for the record, or raise your hand on the platform. I don't see anybody in the audience. Anybody on the platform? Nothing? Okay, very good. Then I'll now close this public hearing and entertain a motion on item number 5.
I second that motion. Oh, I hit the wrong button.
Yep. We have a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Morales, and we have a second by Councilmember Williams. Council, if you would, please cast your vote. Item 5 passes 4 yeas, no nays, and 1 abstention. Moving on to item 6 is a second reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance amending Section 1 through 5 Voting District, Chapter 1 General Provisions of the City Code by establishing new boundaries for the city's 4 single-member districts. We have Mr. Heath on the virtual platform that will give the presentation tonight.
Oh, you might need to
Go ahead.
help. Okay, there we go.
Yes. This is the plan that was previously proposed, and I think there was consensus on. It brings the 4 districts into balance, complies with the various criteria that the council adopted. Those are set out in a letter from Mr. Sequist, December 27th, that explains how they do comply with those. And this would bring the districts into compliance with the U.S. constitutional requirements, that they be of relatively equal population. Also would be consistent with the Voting Rights Act and state law, and we see no reason that it should not be adopted.
Very good, sir. Council, any thoughts or questions regarding the presentation or with the redistricting in general? Okay, very good. Mr. Heath, we thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight.
Thank you, sir.
You bet. Council, at this time, I'll, I'm sorry, I need to open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on item 6 may do so, As you step to the podium, and state your name and address for the record. Nobody on the virtual platform or in the, or in council chambers? Then I will close this public hearing, and council, I'll entertain a motion on item number 6.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve item 6.
Second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Walker. We have a second by Councilmember Long. Council, please cast your vote. Item number 6 passes 5 votes to 0. Moving on to item number 7 is a public hearing, first reading and a public hearing to consider adopting an ordinance authorizing a rezoning request from two-family dwelling to single-family dwelling district on .22 acres described as Jones and Moore Edition, Block 23, South, 90 feet of Lot 4 in the city of Temple, Bell County, Texas, addressed as 818 South 19th. Mr. Chandler.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. And the applicant, Tucker Glaske, and owner of this property is also on the virtual platform in case you have any questions. And so the property at 818 South 19th Street, you can see not too far south of Avenue H. And then on the right, you can see an aerial, and it consists of an existing 800 square foot house built in around the 30s or 40s. And so the intent of the rezoning was to be able to relocate a potentially historic craftsman bungalow that he also owns on Avenue G. And in order to do that, the current zoning, of course, is 2F, which is two-family, and that, oddly enough, even though this is traditionally a single-family neighborhood, it's zoned for duplexes. And so in order to allow for a second structure or dwelling unit detached to be consistent with the neighborhood, the proposed rezoning. And so it's a 9,900 square foot lot, and once again it includes a small existing house. The original intent was to relocate the Craftsman bungalow from West Avenue G, and I'll get into that in a second. Typical lot size in the neighborhood ranges from around 5,600 square feet to 6,600 square feet. So corner lot, larger than most of the lots within the neighborhood as well. Plus a duplex could be built there just by right, tear down the 800 square foot home, put up a duplex. So the current zoning does allow detached single-family homes on a minimum of 6,000 square feet, but also duplexes on a minimum of 6,000 square feet when you calculate the minimum lot width and depth. And then once again, for single-family 3, however, the minimum lot size is 4,000 square feet. So you do the math, 9,900 square foot lot, zone single-family 3, you could preserve the existing house and either relocate another or build a small house on that second lot. And so just a quick reminder about the table, and basically just confirms what I just told you in terms of looking at single-family detached structures on the current 2F zoning designated lot versus single-family 3. And so single-family 3 would allow subdividing the lot into 2 lots with a minimum of 4,000 square feet. And so in terms of consistency with the comprehensive plan, the future development plan identifies this area as urban residential. And so this is a consistent request with the comprehensive plan. And looking at the thoroughfare plan, 19th Street is a neighborhood collector. And so you can see photos. This is the existing 800 square foot house that Mr. Glaske owns and would preserve. And then you can see the sign is on the adjacent, same lot, but of course if this rezoning were approved, it would be subdivided into another smaller lot and accommodate another smaller house. And so you can see the property to the north, neighbors to the north there, property to the south, east, and then to the west on the other side of an existing alley. And so this is just an example of the site plan. The house that he owns on West Avenue G, originally intended to relocate the house here. There are actually some big elm trees in the front that he'd like to preserve, and so relocation of a house as opposed to new construction on that adjacent lot, if this were approved and replatted, would require removal of those trees. So he's looking at purchasing another lot to relocate this house. I think I took it out, but either way, the Craftsman Bungalow on Avenue G. And so if we go, which you look at the example site plan, it could accommodate a Craftsman Bungalow of that size, 1,569 square feet. And so if he were to build a new house, a small house, on that piece of property, it would be smaller than that. And but either way, you look at the total 800 square feet plus 1,600 essentially max. You're looking at 2,400 square feet on a 9,900 square foot lot, which those are two smaller homes and can easily be accommodated on that property if the rezoning is approved and replatted into two lots.
What about parking?
Parking could either be in the front or even from the alley, especially since it is a corner lot. And that is, I think, that condition of the alley seems to be in pretty good condition. And so Mr. Glaske is aware that that is an option as well. And so especially to construct a new house and avoid those existing elm trees,
Sure.
That may be something that he'd want to take advantage of. And so 20 notices were sent out to property owners within 200 feet. One was received in opposition, and you can see that's kind of catty-corner to the south, and then one in favor. So staff and planning and zoning both recommend unanimous approval, and they did so at their December 7th meeting from 2F to single family 3. Once again, I'm happy to answer any questions, and Mr. Glaske should be available too if you had some questions for him.
Thank you, Mr. Chandler.
Oh, I'm sorry, real quick. This is actually the bungalow that he owns on Avenue G that he could move to the lot, but would have to take out those trees, and so he's actually looking for an additional lot for that.
That's behind the old Blue Bonnet.
Yes, sir.
Right.
You've got it.
I mean, he's looking for an additional lot
To move that,
this house.
yes.
This is gonna get moved regardless somewhere.
Correct.
And he may move it to the one we're talking about, but he may, to preserve the trees, build something new.
In fact, I believe he has found another lot on South 9th Street, and so I think the current proposal, because of course we couldn't condition the rezoning to have this as part of it, and so it's important to point that out, but his intentions are to preserve this house, probably on a different lot, build another small house adjacent to the 800 square foot house due to the unique condition of that small house being on the south side, south half of a 9,900 square foot lot.
Because assuming we pass this to replat it to 2 and then preserve the trees if you build something new.
Correct.
Got it.
Mr. Glaske is unmuted. He has something he wants to say.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Glaske. Are you there?
He is unmuted?
He might be unmuted on this end. I wonder if he is on his end.
Okay. Tucker, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. These young kids don't know how to work this. That's what it is. Okay. All right. Sorry, Tucker, if you had comments, we couldn't hear them. So, Council, are there any other thoughts or? Nothing? All right, very good. Then at this time, I'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on this matter may do so. Step to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Raise your hand on the platform or unmute. Okay. All right, there being none, I will close this public hearing and entertain a motion, council, on item number 7.
I move for approval of this rezoning request.
I second that motion.
We have a motion by Councilmember Williams. We have a second by Councilmember Long. Council, if you would, please cast your vote. Item number 7 passes 5 votes to 0. Nice short meeting tonight. Thank you all for attending, and this meeting is adjourned.